Hi, boys and girls. We're ready to read the next couple of chapters from Wonder today. Last we left off, Augie was just getting picked up from the nature retreat, and we know everything that had happened in the woods the night before. The boys, they were jumped, they were attacked by some of the older boys that were staying there at the camp, and a really surprising turn of events. Some of the boys that had been bullying Jack and Augie all year came to their rescue. And so this is where we're picking up. Augie was just picked up and they're heading home. And so this chapter is called Home. Mom and I didn't talk much the whole walk home. And when we got to the front stoop, I automatically looked in the front bay window because I had forgotten for a second that Daisy wasn't going to be there, like always, perched on the sofa with her front paws on the windowsill, waiting for us to come home. It made me kind of sad when we walked inside. As soon as we did, Mom dropped my duffel bag and wrapped her arms around me and kissed me on my head and on my face like she was breathing me in. "It's okay, Mom, I'm fine," I said, smiling. She nodded and took my face in her hands. Her eyes were shiny. "I know you are," she said. "I missed you so much, Augie." "I missed you too." I could tell she wanted to say a lot of things, but she was stopping herself. "Are you hungry?" she asked. "Starving. Can I have a grilled cheese?" "Of course," she answered, and immediately started to make the sandwich, while I took my jacket off and sat down at the kitchen counter. "Where's Via?" I asked. "She's coming home with Dad today." "Boy, did she miss you, Augie," Mom said. "Yeah?" "She would have liked the nature reserve. You know what movie they played? The Sound of Music. You'll have to tell her that." "So, do you want to hear about the bad part or the good part first?" I asked after a few minutes, leaning my head on my hand. "Whatever you want to talk about," she answered. "Well, except for last night, I had an awesome time," I said. "I mean, it was just awesome. That's why I'm so bummed. I feel like they ruined the whole trip for me." "No, sweetie, don't let them do that to you. You were there for more than 48 hours, and that awful part lasted 1 hour. Don't let them take that away from you, okay?" "I know," I nodded. "Did Mr. Tushman tell you about the hearing aids?" "Yes, he called us this morning." "Was Dad mad? Because they're so expensive." "Oh my gosh, of course not, Augie. He just wanted to know that you were all right, and that's all that matters to us. And that you don't let those thugs ruin your trip." I kind of laughed at the way she said the word thugs. "What?" she asked. "Thugs," I teased her. "That's kind of an old-fashioned word." "Okay, jerks, morons, imbeciles," she said, flipping over the sandwich in the pan. "Cretinos, as my mother would call them. Whatever you want to call them. If I saw them on the street, I would..." She shook her head. "They were pretty big, Mom," I smiled. "7th graders, I think." She shook her head. "7th graders? Mr. Tushman didn't tell us that. Oh my goodness." "Did he tell you how Jack stood up for me?" I said. "And Amos was like, bam, he rammed right into the leader. They both crashed to the ground like a real fight. It was pretty awesome. Amos's lip was bleeding and everything." "He told us there was a fight, but," she said, looking at me with her eyebrows raised, I'm just so grateful you and Amos and Jack are fine. When I think about what could have happened." She trailed off, flipping the grilled cheese again. "My Montauk hoodie got totally shredded." "Well, that can be replaced," she answered. She lifted the grilled cheese onto a plate and put the plate in front of me on the counter. "Milk or white grape juice?" "Chocolate milk, please." I started devouring the sandwich. "Oh, can you do it that special way you make it with the froth?" "How did you and Jack end up at the edge of the woods in the first place?" she said, pouring the milk into a tall glass. "Well, Jack had to go to the bathroom," I answered. My mouth was full. As I was talking, she spooned in the chocolate powder and started rolling a small whisk between her palms really fast. "But there was a huge line and, well, he didn't want to wait, so we went towards the woods to pee." She looked up at me while she was whisking. I know she was thinking we shouldn't have done that. The chocolate milk in the glass now had a 2-inch froth on the top. "That looks good, Mom, thanks." "And then what happened?" she said, putting the glass in front of me. I took a long drink of the chocolate milk. "Is it okay if we don't talk about it anymore right now?" "Oh, okay. I promise I'll tell you all about it later when Dad and Via come home. I'll tell you every detail. I just don't want to have to tell the whole story over and over, you know?" "Absolutely." I finished my sandwich in 2 more bites and gulped down the chocolate milk. "Wow, you practically inhaled that sandwich. Do you want another?" she said. I shook my head and wiped my mouth with the back of my hand. "Mom, am I always going to have to worry about jerks like that?" I asked. "Like when I grow up, is it always going to be like this?" She didn't answer right away, but took my plate and glass and put them into the sink and rinsed them with water. "There's always going to be jerks in the world, Augie," she said, looking at me. "But I really believe, and Daddy really believes, that there are more good people on this earth than bad people. And the good people watch out for each other and take care of each other. Just like Jack was there for you and Amos and those other kids." "Yeah, Miles and Henry," I answered. "They were awesome too. It's weird because Miles and Henry haven't even really been very nice to me at all during the year." "Sometimes people surprise us," she said, rubbing the top of my head. "I guess." "Want another glass of chocolate milk?" "No, I'm good," I said. "Thanks, Mom. Actually, I'm kind of tired. I didn't sleep too good last night." "You should take a nap. Thanks for leaving me Babu, by the way. You got my note?" She smiled. "I slept with him both nights." She was about to say something else when her cell phone rang, and she answered. She started beaming as she was listening. "Oh my goodness. Really? What kind?" She said excitedly. "Yep, he's right here. He was about to take a nap. Want to say hi?" "Oh, okay. See you in 2 minutes." She clicked off. "That was Daddy," she said excitedly. "He and Via are just down the block." "He's not at work?" I said. "He left early because he couldn't wait to see you," she said. "So don't take a nap quite yet." 5 seconds later, Dad and Via came through the door. I ran into Dad's arms, and he picked me up and spun me around and kissed me. He didn't let me go for a full minute until I said, "Dad, it's okay." And then it was Via's turn. She kissed me all over like she used to do when I was little. It wasn't until she stopped that I noticed the big white cardboard box they had brought in with them. "What is that?" I said. "Open it," said Dad, smiling. And he and Mom looked at each other like they knew a secret. "Come on, Augie," said Via. I opened the box. Inside was the cutest little puppy I've ever seen in my life. It was black and furry, with a pointy little snout and bright black eyes, small ears that flopped down. The next chapter is called Bear. We called the puppy Bear because when Mom first saw him, she said he looked just like a little bear cub. I said that's what we should call him, and everyone agreed that was the perfect name. I took the next day off from school, not because my elbow was hurting me, which it was, but so I could play with Bear all day long. Mom let Via stay home from school too, so the two of us took turns cuddling with Bear and playing tug of war with him. We had kept all of Daisy's old toys and brought them out now to see which ones that he'd like best. It was fun hanging out with Via all day, just the two of us. It was like old times, like before I started going to school. Back then, I couldn't wait for her to come home from school so she could play with me before starting her homework. Now that we're older, though, and I'm going to school and have friends of my own that I hang out with, we never do that anymore. So it was nice hanging out with her, laughing and playing, and I think she liked it too. This next chapter is called The Shift. When I went back to school the next day, the first thing I noticed was that there was this big shift in the way things were. A monumental shift, a seismic shift, maybe even a cosmic shift. Whatever you want to call it, it was a big shift. Everyone, not just in our grade, but every grade, had heard about what had happened to us with the 7th graders. So suddenly, I wasn't known for what I had always been known for, but for this other thing that had happened. And the story of what had happened had gotten bigger and bigger each time it was told. 2 days later, the way the story went was that Amos had gotten into a major fistfight with the kid, and Miles and Henry and Jack had thrown some punches at the other guys too, and the escape across the field became this whole long adventure through a cornfield maze and into the deep, dark woods. Jack's version of the story was probably the best because he's so funny. But in whatever version of the story, and no matter who was telling it, 2 things always stayed the same. I got picked on because of my face, and Jack defended me. And those guys, Amos, Henry, and Miles, protected me. And now that they had protected me, I was different to them. It was like I was one of them. They all called me little dude now, even the jocks. These big dudes I barely even knew before would knuckle punch me in the hallways now. Another thing to come out of it was that Amos became super popular, and Julian, because he had missed the whole thing, was really out of the loop. Miles and Henry were hanging out with Amos all the time now, like they switched best friends. I'd like to be able to say hi to Julie, to say that Julian started treating me better too, but that wouldn't be true. He still gave me dirty looks across the room. He still never talked to me or Jack. But he was the only one who was like that now. And me and Jack, we couldn't care less. It's a pretty good shift, don't you think? That's where we're going to stop our reading for today. My plan is for us to read 3 chapters a day this week, and we should finish by Thursday. I was hopeful that we would finish by Thursday. Thursday afternoon, I'll be meeting with my class in our last class meeting, and I'll be meeting with Mrs. Schott's class for their last meeting on Friday. So I'm sure I'll have at least another read aloud for you by Friday, something special just to round out our year. But my plan is to finish Wonder by Thursday. So stay tuned and we'll read next time. Don't forget to put your thoughts into the comments. Tell me what you thought about these 2 chapters, and we'll read together next time. Bye.